take it away from us now.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, let me thank that you're giving me one of your precious Saturday afternoons and spending a few hours with me here. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Mansi, for that very cogent and very flowery introduction. Thank you. I do look.
Ruchi, you're on mute.
Have been on mute. I apologize. Good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me first thank you all for giving me your afternoon. A Saturday afternoon is a precious resource. So thank you very much for spending a couple of hours with me. Thank you, Mansi, for that introduction. I now would like to call my journey as a change and transformation coach. I do carry a lot of baggage from my past different experiences. And those baggages, the way I use them is I open the suitcases and the bags and try to pick out whatever experience is relevant to help others navigate their journey. So I do coaching in many areas, and that's my current role as a transformation and change coach. I do a lot of trainings also. I'm also a technical trainer. I do software architecture trainings also. So thank you for that. Today's session is so timely. So thank you, Lenan, for raising this topic. And I appreciate that you gave me this opportunity. We did run a survey while asking for registration. And this is what you all told us. We have used this data while trying to make the material for this session. We asked you all about how you feel about your performance appraisal discussions. And many of you can see the blue here, manager cutoff conversation after checking on promotion and career growth. Okay. And so this is a serious challenge, the connect with the manager, ensuring that it's a continued conversation. I see a big orange slice here, and having a dialogue on promotion seems to be a big challenge. We have a chunk of our time in the end on promotions. The understanding ratings and career options. Unfortunately, interestingly, career options is like a tangential topic, so we haven't really covered it here. But we do have our second caselet, which is going to work around what do ratings mean, how do organizations think of ratings, and what does it mean for you, etc., etc. Okay. And as we can see, most of our audience is in 26 to 35 years age group. We got 72 responses, which is a great response. And about 40% of the people have joined. We hope more people will join as the session continues. So this is the data based on which we have tried to design the session today. And this is what you all have been telling. The other reason for us to project this at the very start of the session is for you to see, if you selected one of these, for you to see that you're not alone. Like all of us face this. This is a very standard issue when you are working in the corporate world, when you're working in a large or a mid-sized organization, to think about what will happen annually. So yes, it is real. Yes, it causes anxiety. Yes, it's good to be more prepared because you are able to get better, if not better outcomes, at least a better experience and better learning from it. So we are ready to get started with the session. And this is how the agenda flows. I do have about 8 to 10 cartoons in the session. Please enjoy at your, I'm not going to read them. They're really just to keep you all awake, considering this is nap time for some at least. So enjoy the cartoon. But we are going to cover 3 cases, or what we call caselets, small stories of people, situations. One is around appraisal, discussion. The second one is around an unexpected rating. And the third one is around promotion and hike. Our goal is that we spend about 20 minutes on each one of them. And then there will be other things we will do. We will summarize how you prepare for appraisal. We will summarize how you prepare for promotion dialogues and tracking your promotion and planning your promotion, etc. So that's pretty much the agenda. Anyone, you have any questions about the flow, about the data we collected, about my introduction or anything, please raise your hand and you can be unmuted. Anyone? All right, Diksha.
Hi, Ruchi.
Hi, Diksha.
I'm keen to listening. The phasing and the agenda flow is good. Just I'll bring in a flair of how this needs to be managed in startup, and especially when now we're looking at a complete remote first kind of arrangement.
So I do have virtual dialogues covered, but startup is a very different topic, and we will try to, now that you've brought it up, I will try and put that also in the discussion. Thank you for raising it. Sure. So we'll start with the first story, and with this, we will start a breakout. We have about 32 odd people, and either Mansi or Shweta can create the breakout rooms. Read the story. I hope it resonates with many of you. It's the story of a standard senior engineer, maybe potentially, staff engineer in an organization, regular with one-on-ones. You discuss work, you discuss team issues, you take managers' feedback. But as the performance appraisal time approaches, just so much has happened over the year. You're like, what all should I write? Should I write this? Should I write that? Will my manager remember this? Will my manager remember that? My manager has also changed. How much do I write? I can't write a book and submit it in my performance appraisal. Okay. She has been appreciated for her work. She has even had a Spot Award in the year. But she's not able to use the right language to convey something which she feels like it'll give the right impact. And then obviously she's wondering how her year-end appraisal will go. I'd request Mansi or Shweta to create the breakout room, and we would in the breakout rooms discuss these 4 or 5 questions and bring me back your thoughts. What are the challenges you face at a performance appraisal discussion? Okay, what is the challenge here in this story, and what do you face? Both. Okay. What can Anita do differently? What could have been done differently? Are there any best practices that you use already, or you have learned in your organization and you try to practice? So look at it from Anita's point of view, this story point of view, or you can just look at it from your point of view. Either is fine. And then also have a small dialogue on, if I was the HR head, the organization's perspective, what are we doing with this whole appraisal for? What is the manager's perspective? Put that hat also, because remember, you all are on journeys, right? Eventually you will get there. Some of you are close, some of you may already be there. So you have to think from that perspective also. So Shweta, 7 minutes. I'd request you all to take a screenshot if you want to have this with you for the discussion. If you want me to share the PPT, I can do that on the chat. I should be able to.
That's a good idea. So let's put this screenshot on the chat for everyone to see, and I'll assign the breakout rooms now.
Yes. So let me just put this as a GIF. I'm just doing a screenshot, print screen, and I'm going to chat. Let me see if I'm able to get it. I'm not able to get it. That's always the case with Zoom, but we will try.
I'll paste in the text onto the chat.
I'm trying to paste the whole PPT. Let me see if it goes. It doesn't. So request that one of you just capture, if you're able to capture this and just post it. Not just the text. I think print screen is really good, but it's not going through.
Give us a minute. Give us a minute.
I'm also trying to capture it.
Yeah, somehow. So what we will do is,
Mansi, can you
Yes.
paste the questions in the chat?
Yes, I'm doing.
Yeah. So once the questions are in the chat, I will then.
I just pasted it. I'm trying to. I don't know why I'm not able to write to the chat. I'll just see, maybe some permission issue.
I'll do it, Ruchi.
Okay, sure. Just done.
Okay.
Okay, it worked. Okay, so you do have the question and reflect. Should we give 7 minutes? What do you guys say? 7 minutes is good.
Yeah, and I've also shared this screenshot as well.
Thank you. Go ahead. Let's do the breakout rooms and let's come back after that.
Mansi, I think it would be a good idea to make Ruchi a co-host because now she is got the science to your room.
I have made her a co-host. Let me check once more. Now it's showing only 2 of us as the participants. Let me remove her from now. Do you see her in any? Okay, yeah, she's here. Move to main session.
She's in room 5.
Yeah, I did move her to the main session.
Let me move her back to the main session. Okay. Hi. Yeah, Ruchi is here. Ruchi, you're on mute. I can share what I think.
Sure, Shweta, go ahead.
So in
Oh, कौन आ गया?
just 1 second, mummy time.
Yeah, go ahead. Jaya, Mansi, would you like to share something? Karen, Jaya, can you hear me? Are you there? Smriti, would you like to share something?
I can share, Ruchi.
Sure, go ahead, Mansi.
I think one challenge would be that I don't think managers really remember much unless we bring it up to the notice and, have a whole, at least some kind of documentation about the things that we have worked on in the past year. So that gives us some framework to talk about it instead of just giving vague points or, relying on their memory. So
managers don't remember. They are just human. They are not elephants. Even if they are elephants, they are tracking a lot of, chickens and horses and everybody. So they're also human. They really cannot remember. Okay. What other challenges are there?
I think there's also figuring out what I think I did well versus what my manager thinks I did well.
Okay. Very interesting. My well versus managers well, right? Or excels.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That's a good point. And sometimes it could be my well versus managers well versus the organization's need. Right. That's a third level. Okay. Any quick tips which you has worked for you, which you have, I'll leave the other boxes for the teams to come back so that we can fill the points. But anyone, any tips or something which has worked for you?
I think what has worked for me is I would do this Friday, end of the week, Friday review. Okay, which I would send to my manager. So every Friday I would write an email to my manager talking about what are the things I worked on this week, what was delivered, what is in progress or whatever. Okay. What that used to do is like when I had to sit down and write my performance appraisal, right? I would have this entire list with me. Okay. And it made the whole thing easier for me because then I would recollect ki, "Hare, ye bhi kiya tha."
Okay. So how did you manage that? So you are saying you would have it on a Friday evening?
Friday evening before I close off my laptop, I send out an email.
So you do it every week?
Every week.
Okay. Weekly summary.
Sort of.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Weekly summary. What else? Anyone else? Mansi? Or Jaya, Karen, are you there? Would you like to share?
I think people are coming back from the...
Sure. Then we'll just add from what they say.
Yeah. Hi team, from Jaya, I would like to say that I normally for the annual things or for 6 months, I just make one PPT ready and then put the points in there so that as you rightly mentioned, I will not miss anything or miss out anything. So it would be very So I do keep a PPT of highlighting things and then keep it ready. And
things which you think are important.
Yes.
Right? Where you have made the impact.
Yeah. For my weekly thing, I make an Excel and then in Excel, I highlight the points.
Okay.
It will help me to add the good points to the PPT. That's what I do. Yeah.
So either keep a tracking PPT or keep a tracking Excel. And the reason I'm using the word tracking, it's not a one-time activity. You continue to do it over the year, basically. It takes an investment of time and intention to do it. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. While you all were in your breakout rooms, we had our little breakout room here, and we were trying to write the key issues and challenges and then key tips and best practices. I'd like to hear from 4 or 5 people, and it'll be good if you are all from different rooms. So we can start with one person from room 1. Any one challenge that you think was the highlight of your discussion, or any one tip that was the highlight of your discussion? Yes, Subhadra.
Yes, as part of group 1, I thought some of in our discussions, like I think what came through quite distinct. Like I mean, it was a mix of things, but essentially talking about how where we spoke essentially about how there's this really fine line, I suppose Anita faces regarding trying to sound impressive, but also you know, you don't want to sound boastful when you're trying to write your review. And also the notion of, you know, when you're comparing yourself with your colleagues in terms of whether you're good enough, whether you did enough, so things of that sort. And some very handy tips, I think one of our group members talked about was how you can actually talk to your manager and understand from them on a monthly basis what their expectations are, so that you can align with them constantly.
Okay, so, monthly dialogue on expectations. Okay. The next group, and you'll continue to see this, so you add to this, and there might be repeats. We don't have to say it because the issues do narrow down to 7-8 key issues. So please go ahead, add group 2.
I think there are a couple of people with their hands up.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, whoever is there. If you can name them, please.
Yeah, so I think two themes which came as challenges in our discussion. One was, I think it's already captured, my well versus manager's well. Mostly people get into discussions with what they think they have done well, which are their strengths, and they try to, you know, kind of outplay on those. And my learning over the years has been, and this is how I've been mentored, as to always position where you have saved the day for your manager, a critical stakeholder, and, you know, try to pitch it that way rather than just showing it purely as your strength. Right?
Okay,
so,
highlight when you saved the day, either for the org or for the manager. Yes. Okay, that's a good one.
Second is mostly people are very unaware, and this is the problem I'm facing currently, to really define what is performance, because we confuse our jobs or BAU activities also as performance, and we try to portray that, you know, and this is one discussion I keep having with my team members. And you know, as a responsibility, managers also fail to really define what is superlative performance, what needs to be rewarded and considered, and what is just regular doing the job.
Clarity on when you meet expectations, clarity on when you exceed expectation, clarity on when you are superlative. Like, you know, it's like grammar hota hai na, base verb, comparative verb, superlative verb. Koi batata hi nahi hai ki how, which one is which to us. Okay, another group, please. Let's try and get one or two more points, and then anyone else?
Pradeepa, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I think the second point in issues and challenges, Ruchi, around impressive and boastful, right? That also was highlighted in our conversation. And how our male colleagues are, like, you know, very comfortable with boasting their performance, like, you know, always putting or going with exceeds expectation and outstanding, versus for us, it's always like we have to answer, like, you know, 1,000 questions before we rate ourselves as meets expectations. Why is it that way, right? So that is the.
So I will put it all under gender, and I have the last 2 slides. That's how I wrap up the session on very gender, the behavioral patterns and how they impact. So I have put it under impressive versus boastful, and gender related behaviors, or the way we position ourselves, or the way we are also perceived, both of that, not just the way we position ourselves, but also the way we are perceived. Okay, what else?
So many people nodding their heads when you know, we just spoke about how men talk about their performance versus how women talk about their performance. We have Ayushi next.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. So we just discussed, like, up to the same thing, I guess. So the one point was like gender. We might not be very confident while speaking, like, you know, what all work we have done, and yeah, I'm just trying to recall, like, what was the other challenge, or like, yeah, so since we might not be meeting very regularly, like on a quarterly basis, or you know, so the monthly basis, so we might not, and the manager also has to, if I'm putting on the manager's hat, the manager also might not know that what this particular person has done, because the manager has to manage of a team of like 10
large
or
team doesn't remember. Yeah, we have written that. Managers don't remember. That's a real challenge. I mean, it's a human challenge. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Any tips you would like to say which has worked for you, or you all discussed which worked for your team, for any of your?
Yeah, actually, one tip which we have done, but it means I think that needs to be done little diligently and consistently, which is like quarterly check-ins, okay, and then that has to be onto the portal or like somewhere,
Okay.
so that it is
like in a formal way, not just a dialogue, more formally. Okay.
Right.
Anyone else?
Nidhi, you're up next.
And I think this will be the last one we'll take.
There's Nidhi and Nisha.
Okay, we'll take both. Go ahead, girls.
Yeah, so I think most of the points we have broadly covered, but just wanted to mention a small nuance over here. So it's with the mindset that we enter a performance review conversation. So mostly when you're working closely with your manager, you assume that the person knows everything. Assuming that they remember everything. I think it would revolve mostly around the first point that you have written. Another tip that I wanted to share with all of us is capturing the needle moving initiatives that you could close. So and specifically having the data involved in it, because coming from my experience, my manager is not that involved in my work, so it's like a lot of ownership on my shoulders. So there I need to showcase them that what are the good things that I am doing and how it is impacting the small run or the long run of the organization.
Sure. Made a note of it. Excellent point. One last person now, please.
Nisha, you're up.
Hi, Ruchi.
Hi.
So what Rekha and Hitesha and I discussed was that something that we follow is that or something in this particular scenario that Anita could do is documenting everything from the very beginning. So prior to the say at the beginning of the year, to put together the objectives for that particular year and maybe break down those objectives in the form of tasks. And so just so that you are on the same page as your manager. And then at the end of the year, during the appraisal, maybe you can highlight what action was taken to accomplish those tasks. And also, if you have any supporting metrics, like giving any examples or the value that you have added or how you have grown as a person through those tasks, just to highlight your accomplishment would be better. So that is something that we discussed. And one more thing that stood out was how women mostly hesitate, to advocate for themselves.
Okay.
So capturing all the
gender. This is a good topic, and we'll absolutely. Sometimes we don't champion ourselves.
Yes.
Okay.
So in terms
good capture. Good capture.
In terms of self-advocacy, just to keep a track of all, let it be emails or keeping your manager in the loop would be very helpful.
Sure. Absolutely. All right, guys. This is all. I mean, I don't need the second slide now. You guys have captured everything. Enjoy the cartoon also. I've captured what all you all were saying. And this itself gives you one, we are all in the same boat. Or if we are not in the same boat, we are all in the same storm. Somebody's in a canoe, somebody's in a yacht, somebody's in a bigger ship, but we are all in the same storm kind of feeling. And also there are these common tips which people have been practicing, and some of these, and if you ask me, the most powerful and most important of these would be the ability to capture needle moving or org-wide impact or metrics impact or sales impact or bottom line impact, depending on what your role is. Essentially, am I able to articulate? It's not that you haven't done the work, you've done the work, but a lot of us focus on effort. I did this and I did this and I focused on this and I drove this initiative and I groomed this person. That language just shows effort. What was the impact of it? The language of impact. Instead of saying I did this, drove the customer interaction with blah company, which brought us revenue of 93 million in 3 quarters. Don't worry about what you did. That is the starting of it. but somewhere add what it got for the company. And it could be sales numbers, it could be a particular release, it could be a bug count coming down, it could be stability of your software, it could be getting some very creative features into the product, it could be getting a new client who was not otherwise convinced about moving from one platform to another platform. The impact. Because the language of impact, the sooner you learn it, the sooner you are able to connect with the org level expectation of the delivery. Effort is great. Effort is needed anyway. But this language of impact, I'll highlight it in a later slide also. So this is a good capture. Let's go on and talk how I see the year, the discussion is the end of the whole year's effort, right? So it's a year-round preparation. And you do it with, what do you do year-round? What do you do when you're actually writing the appraisal? And then what do you do when you are in the appraisal meeting? This is year-round. This is while you draft and write. And this is what is you do in the meeting. Some of the top points. These may be repeat from the previous slide, and I might skip those bullets because they were already captured. But let's start with this. This is a very good start, very good place to start. Look at the cartoon. What's the cartoon telling you? What's the challenge?
Capturing a year worth of work impact in really, really short time.
Yes, there's another way to look at it too. Good point. Anyone else?
To be able to have that elevator pitch kind of thing about your impact in those 30 seconds, like whatever you've done.
So there are two ways to look at this cartoon, and that's why I really liked it. One is that you're sitting for the evaluation and your manager says, "Ye 30 seconds mein you give me all the dump." That's one way. The second way to look at it is at any time of the year, your manager can come to you and say, you know what, ye wala jo goal hai na, this will decide your performance review. Not in an explicit way, but in a very implicit way. If the goals and expectation are not clear, any particular goal or any particular expectation may get weightage, which is not necessarily fair. It's not like I only did that, right? I did 965 other things. But if my manager wants to tell me these are the 3 tasks, this is the 32nd on which we will decide whether you are ready, to get this % hike or not, then it's almost like, oh my God, I didn't even know that this was the goal I was being measured against. So having that clarity on expectation, very, 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 very important. Now, I know in the fast-paced world that we are, expectations keep changing. Quarter 1, you have something different. Quarter 2, you debate. You say, you know what, this will get killed. That will come. At least once a quarter, when you do quarterly check-ins, not only do you write about your impact and effort and performance, you also write for the next quarter, these are my 3 goals, or these are my max 5, no more than 5. Just don't clutter. Clutter doesn't help you, doesn't help them. And the second aspect is, do I understand what is exceeds? Do I understand what is meets expectation? I'm working hours and hours and hours. But is this what is expected of me? If you are doing what is expected of you, then it is just meets expectation. Don't try to put any other flavor to it. This is expected of you. How do you know you exceed? Can you get that from your manager explicitly? 90% of the time you won't. 90%, because they also don't know how to articulate it. But when you're doing a work and you have been asked to give weekly reports for something, right? You make good reports. They are on time. You never miss it. You make sure that it's updated based on feedback. So you feel very good about it. It meets expectations. Exceeds would be if you start deriving insights from that data and sharing it in a summary and saying, I generate these reports and these are the 2 insights I got this week. Exceeds would be if there is one particular report which was not expected of you, but creatively, because you understand business, because you understand sales, because you understand customer, you came up with something which was not even asked of you. Exceeds has to be something which was not directly asked of you. If you are doing only what is being asked of you, in general, it's going to be about meets expectation. And I know this sounds harsh, but that's the reality. Documenting and sharing, all of you have talked about it. Document it either as a check-in or as an Excel or as a PPT. Don't treat this as an activity I will touch once in 3 months. You know, oh my God, evening I will watch Netflix, binge watch Netflix on Saturday. Give yourself only 15 minutes on Saturday to track this, and have the tracker of your key tasks. Mark the ones in green or red or some color you choose, which you think is highlight for that week. And every week you can't have 53 highlights. It can't be more than one highlight, because then you are even marking meets. Either you are superhuman or you are marking things which are meets expectation as exceeds expectation. So, and share a couple of those. Now, sharing is an interesting thing. Sharing just a summary report, managers start ignoring because everybody is sending it, right? But some of the interesting ways of sharing is storytelling in your meeting. If you have had a success with either a very difficult bug or a very difficult client or a very difficult design, in the meeting, just say, you know what, it was, and you don't have to be boastful. You just have to say it was a great learning experience. As a team, we spent many hours, and I think I'm very happy that as part of this learning process, I was able to find the solution. But the word has to be, I was able to find the solution. Not that as a team we found the solution. It's good to give credit to the team, but taking your credit is one of the hard things for women. I will highlight this in a later slide also. Team should appreciate you. What that means is when you share this in the team meeting, and sometimes it can go on Slack. You know, you just fixed some bug which was bothering you all for months. The moment you close it, just write a 2-line. The comment that you write on the bug, just write a 2-line comment on the Slack team and put a few emoji. Woof. Bug sitting on us for 3 months, down the drain now, guys, we should celebrate. Okay? The credit is totally yours. You did not use the word, but everybody knows it. And they know it in that moment. Okay? And there will be a clap, there will be a wow or something. People remember when they appreciate. Not only they remember, your manager will also remember when you get appreciation. Okay? Network with influencers. If you have an architect in your team, if you have people who know the system a lot, if you have certain product manager who is very well connected to customers, try to meet them informally over coffee once a week, somebody, so that you are hearing what's happening at a larger scale beyond your work. Women are not very good at this. We connect with people for work and then we forget people. I'm not saying this in a bad or a good way. I'm just saying stereotypically, I know I'm again being a little biased, but these studies show that we connect for needs, we finish the needs, and then we don't connect again. Partly because we are driven by whatever extra time I have, I'll give it to my family, I'll give it to my daughter, I'll give it to my son, whatever. But the fact is networking is needed. And if you network with influencers, whether product managers, whether architects, whether some lead engineer, you are hearing of things which will give you ideas to be creative. It will give you ideas of, oh, if I do this, it will have a needle moving impact. Nobody will have to ask me. It will be an impact. Now, this is year round. This cannot happen 2 weeks before your appraisal. You have to work on this just like you work on your deliverables. Your product goes to the customer. Your performance appraisal comes to you. It is just another product. It's just another project. As sincere you are to your deliverable to the customer, try to be as sincere to yourself. And ensure that you give 20 minutes of one of these activities or all of these activities in a week. Once a month, ensuring clarity on expectations. When expectations move, when priorities move, document them in email. Manoj, we had a good one-on-one today and you called out that my priorities need to shift from blah, blah to blah, blah. I appreciate it that you have been upfront. I will ensure that more time is spent on this new project and I only spend 30% of my time on the other 2 projects. You have forced in his face, Manoj's face, the expectation. If he has any problem with it, he better raise his hand or her hand. you know. So that kind of little, and it's, the mail won't take you more than 15 minutes after you close the one-on-one to write. It should take less than that. While doing the appraisal, right, and I want to summarize the year round with work versus growth. A lot of us are focused on what are we delivering, what are we what is the task we are doing, or what are we giving to the customer. Similarly, you have to track at least once in every 6 weeks. How did I grow? What new did I learn? Some tool, some leadership skill? Did I go to a workshop? While interacting with that customer, I learned and exercised negotiation skill. When I'm trying to fix that bug, I learned about a new design principle. Just what did I learn? What did I grow? And make that also a cheat sheet. Because when I come to the promotion part, performance appraisals are about your deliverables. Promotion is about your growth. Promotion is not about your deliverable. You can deliver whatever you want. If you do not show the growth to the next level, promotion is not as straightforward. So please track your growth, leadership wise, functional wise, skill wise. And again, summarize it for 1 or 2 every 6 months, every 6 weeks or 2 months, and mention it to your manager. Last quarter, I picked up Tableau. Now I have mastered it, and I'm ensuring that all our clients are being able to get real-time reports on Tableau. You highlighted a functional skill. Another meeting. I had a great negotiation meeting with all the 3 clients, although we were not able to close it for this quarter, but I have a promise from them that they will come back to us when they have new features. I think it was a great experience in negotiation. You just highlighted that you are becoming a negotiator, which is a leadership skill or a next level skill. So you have to start wording your growth. This is year round. Then when you write your appraisal, many of us feel the challenge, right? 6 pages, 7 pages. Kitna bada likhu, kitne pages likhu, right? And crisp language. I cannot highlight enough the importance of improving your ability to be succinct and be very, what could be written in 40 words, if it can be written in 11 words with the same impact, please learn it. Give yourself time to become a crisp writer, a crisp speaker. Extremely important skill in today's noise-filled corporate environment. Teams are large. Managers have large span of control. If you're talking too much, if your sentences are long, their brain switches off. It's not that they're trying to be rude. No, it's just human. So if you become crisp, if you become short, if you become direct, it's very easy for you to highlight, and it's very easy for the other party to digest. I always give rule of thumb that in an year's performance appraisal, they should not be more than 10 at all. 10 highlights. No way. Some people say at least 1 a month. I'm like, no, boy. There will be some months where you were low. Okay. No more than 10. Actually, no more than 5, which were really meaningful ones. And the other 5, you have to put it there because it was part of your work. And none of these descriptions should be more than 5 sentences. And none of the sentences should be longer than 11 words. The moment you hit double digits in a sentence, rewrite the sentence. The moment you hit more than 5 sentences in a paragraph, rewrite the paragraph, because you want them to actually read it, not look at it and say, oh my God, ye to padhna hi nahi hai. Appraisal independent kar deta hu. When I go for dialogue with her, I will read it, or him, I will read it. So avoid length. Your language in your appraisal has to be of the impact and value, not I drove, not my effort was, or I did. I did is a very, very weak statement. I did this, I did that, I drove this. Weak. Project blah, we got 3 new clients, and these clients will be with us for 3 years. In the process, I also learned negotiation skill. Okay. Delivery blah, blah, blah. Tracked and brought the bug count in control 2 weeks before the release, ensured 0 P1, P2 in time, worked closely with test team and ensured stability, blah, blah, blah with metrics. Done. 4 sentences, 5 sentences, impact. Mention any appreciation you may have got. If a leader has appreciated your presentation, if a client has appreciated your negotiation, if a colleague has appreciated your ability to design, if an architect has appreciated your clean code, that needs to get a mention. And that can be a separate paragraph on growth, appreciation, and highlights. And again, no more than 5 there. Okay. Show your skill for the next level. And this will come very handy. If you have started doing design, although you were a programmer, and you mention it as, I got a kudos from Ranjan, who's the chief architect for the design of the blah piece, broker piece in release blah, that much is enough. You have shown that you are going to the next level of skill of designing, and you are showing that it has been authoritatively appreciated by somebody. It doesn't matter how many months it took. It doesn't matter how many nights you had to keep awake. So again, the language of appreciation, the language of impact and value. Avoid lengthy details. Keep your language crisp. Think of it, if I got this appraisal, will I read it? If one of my reportees wrote this, will I read this long stuff? If not, please let me rewrite the paragraph. Whenever something is longer than 2 or 3 sentences, look for bullets, instead of, and no sentence is longer than 1.5 page of the doc, 11 words or 12 words max. A full stop should come after that. I'm not giving you a grammar or an English. The brain processes things that way. We have all got now short span of attention. And when you are preparing for the appraisal, so over here, I want to wrap up with the impact versus effort. Effort is great while it's happening. At the end of the year, impact matters. So your language should be of impact. And when in the meeting, be prepared with data. Somebody else said, right? If you have done a needle moving task, have that data. What metrics you got as a result of it, how many customers sent an appreciation note, how the traffic suddenly, which was getting throttled at 900 connections, is now scaling to 10,000 connections in 24 hours, and there is no issue with the deployment. So have that data with you. Anticipate. It's called rude Q&A. Marketing people understand this term. If I was going to market Ruchi Tandon as a product to my manager, okay, so I'm in a press release and I have to tell why Ruchi Tandon is good, right? I'm selling Ruchi Tandon as a product. When I sell something, people are going to ask back questions. Isn't there anybody else who could have done this? 900 other people are doing the same thing. What's so special about what you have done? Anticipate these rude questions and have an answer handy. When you do a root Q&A on yourself, you also realize how you really are growing, or are you just doing a lot of work without growing? And then it makes you reflect and figure out, is this the right path my career is taking, or I'm just bogged down with a lot of transactional stuff, but I'm not really seeing my growth. We did discuss talking about career options and growth, but we can't cover it in this module, maybe another time. But it makes you reflect that way. Other things for the appraisal meeting is, whenever a manager describes something, it's okay to ask for clarity. If your manager says, as a feedback, I would like to tell you, I have got feedback that, you know what, you are thorough, but you're not timely. You kind of miss dates. So ask for clarity. Ranjan, can you share a specific instance? Because I believe I am quite a stickler for time. And except for that one instance when, Arison's bug did not make it in end of Jan, I cannot recollect another episode where I missed a date. Could you share details with me? It's okay to seek clarity. It's not okay to be defensive and disgruntled. What are you saying? Where do I lose it? This is disgruntlement. Okay, or defensive. No. I've always, see, the tone is just different. I'm always on time. I think only that one bug. The same thing in a different tone comes across as defensive and disgruntlement. Prepare yourself to be effective in questioning without getting disgruntled. Keep your emotions to the side. We have a whole slide on feelings. We will spend time on that. Right now, I will just leave it at keep your emotions aside. Pause. Whenever you have a disagreement, whenever you think something is stabbing you in the back, whenever you feel like this is complete wrong representation, take a deep breath and pause. You can even ask, Manoj, could you repeat that? I don't think I have digested it. Okay, that gives you time to calm your anger. It gives you time to calm your anxiety. How can they even say this? Okay, so pause, disagree in a very straightforward manner. Manoj, I don't think this is a fair representation. I think my contribution on that project was more than 80%. At this point, I don't have the data, but I definitely disagree with this representation of my contribution. Very clear, no tone of disagree. That's very important. And you can say, on this topic, I want to make sure we connect again on Tuesday once I have the data or once you have the data. Okay, so it's called the pause, disagree, revisit model, especially if you're getting anxious, if you're getting scared, if you're getting angry, if you're becoming weepy, if you're losing your cool. Okay, it is very important that it remains a dialogue, that you don't sit and just listen to everything that the manager is saying. Doesn't matter what rating you have. If you're not speaking 30% in that meeting is not worth it. It isn't. And you may say that my manager just talks and doesn't listen. You have to manage your manager also. That's also part of your role. Okay? You have to interrupt. You have to ask questions. You have to ask for clarity, because they cannot bulldoze you. They should not be able to bulldoze you. And you need to learn that skill. Any questions on all of these aspects that I have discussed? Or any follow-up thought? And then there is more to it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have one challenge, and this is with one of the managers.
Go ahead, Diksha. Yeah.
Whatever data and you try to be as objective in that conversation. Manager is very perception driven. And mostly you don't get that time to come back to the table and have a conversation, because performance appraisal has timelines and all of that, right? And they will quickly say, oh, a peer said this, a stakeholder said this, and nowadays WhatsApp messaging also becomes the proof of how your performance is being judged, right? So maybe not now, but I would want to understand, how do you really manage a manager who is very perception driven and that impacts your overall performance?
Actually, I won't call it perception. The thing is, Diksha, we call it perception because we assume it's always wrong. Okay. Sometimes somebody is also appreciating you. That will also be a WhatsApp message. Okay. Somebody will say, man, today Diksha was really good. She resolved the issue in 3 hours. The problem is, a lot of people don't send such messages. They feel it, they notice it, but complaints come out of us faster and more on time. And the appreciation, kabhi koi ek meeting mein award ho jayega, spot award ho jayega, but us samay nahi hota. Small wins are not mentioned then and there. And that's a cultural thing. Okay, because as long as things are going fine, nothing is rocking the boat, mere ko kya zarurat hai kuch bolne ki? So what if Diksha says, Diksha achhi kaam kar rahi hai, no, nothing is rocking, but something is rocking, I have to write or I have to say. So that is where the perception management problem comes. What I ask is, I have what I call is pull the feedback. It's called pull the feedback. You are responsible for the canvas that you establish for yourself. So if you know you have worked well with Shweta, she's in another lateral team, in your face, Shweta appreciated it. So there are 3 ways to nudge Shweta to actually put this either in a mail or in WhatsApp. One is direct. Shweta will say, you know what, Diksha, you just helped us resolve a big issue. Thank you so much. And you can just say, Shweta, can you just drop a mail to my manager, because I spent significant time on this in this week. And when I put it on my tracker, I want him to know that there has been some value add. This will also encourage larger collaboration among teams. So make it about bigger than you, but your name has to be mentioned. Okay, so this is called a pulled feedback. There is a second strategy in doing a pull feedback. After you're done, come to your desk, write a mail to Shweta and say, Shweta, working with you this week was an exhilarating experience. I was able to help you resolve the issue of Arison. This makes me feel really humbled. And the fact that this is a cross-team initiative gives me an adrenaline rush. I hope I get more opportunities, and the CC has to be Shweta's manager and your manager. You pulled a feedback. Shweta has no option but to do a thumbs up. Okay. There is a third way to do a pull your feedback. And that pull comes when the customer is there. Let us say you worked with Shweta, but the value came to Arison company, right? And you're working with their tech support. Ignore Shweta, because you know that Shweta is a backstabber. She's going to take all the credit. Okay. What you want now is Suhas, who was the tech manager, has to send the mail. अब उसको कैसे तुम पटाओगी, वो तुम्हारा काम है. Because you're doing a sell job for Diksha. So you have to be in a pull your feedback mode. I know it sounds manipulative, Diksha, but the fact is we are also responsible for promoting ourselves. And we don't do a good job of it as women. We don't. You know, we don't. We'll come to that. So let's wrap up the three other aspects I want to talk about.
I think Nisha has her hand up.
Nisha, I will ignore you. Let me finish 2 bubbles and I will ask you after that. The reason is I think I'm just tracking time and I don't want to. Let me just wrap this slide and we will call Nisha. Please, I apologize. Okay. So there are 3 other aspects and they have already been mentioned in the previous slide, but I want to summarize it here. Tracking your accomplishment, highlighting and making it visible is your job. It's not your manager's job. We kind of assume, अरे उसने meeting में मुझे appreciate भी नहीं किया. अरे he didn't even mention or she didn't even mention. Why? Why? Actually, 80% of managers who are good managers and healthy managers will do it. There will be 20% who either are not good managers or they just have too much transactional multitasking happening that it has slipped their brain. Okay. It is your job to make yourself visible. It is your job to convey your value and your org impact. Start to become a success storyteller. Short stories. Coffee ho rahi hai, team meeting chal rahi hai, ya lunch ho raha hai weekly, and you just say, you know what, guys, do you know I worked with Shweta's team last week? Man, ek to their team is so disorganized. But man, it was such an adrenaline rush when I was actually able to resolve the issue for them. You know, I want to share this story with you all in the team meeting. You didn't tell the whole story, but you left enough over there that there is a footprint there beyond your manager. Okay. Impact language, as I gave you the example of metrics, of the customer that gets impacted, the bug count that you brought down, the design that got appreciative. This is all impact language, not effort language. The fact that you worked all night is good. You mention it in passing. What is important is that you were able to bring the bug count down to 0 on the Friday, right? Always have positive language when talking about either your work or even the work of your colleagues. Even if you're not appreciating them. And if you're appreciating them, when you are giving yourself appreciation once a week in front of your team, ensure you're giving appreciation to another colleague once a week in the team. Somebody who has worked with you. From a lateral team, again, it doesn't come easily, but over time, it starts to become what is called a mutual appreciation society. People realize that, you know, we can drop our guards, we can say good things about each other. It's not all, you know, if I appreciate her, she'll also remember, he'll also do that. Yes, there will always be 1 or 2 who won't do that, but 60 to 70% of the people generally then fall into the mass mutual appreciation society kind of culture. Okay. It is your job to make your work visible beyond your manager. So your manager hears everything. But when you resolve an issue for a lateral team and you send the feedback pull mail, the CC is not only your manager, it can be your manager's manager because the customer was impacted. Yes, there are some managers who become very, territorial about it, that I have to send the mail. Why did you send the mail? Why did you have to put Vishu in the loop? He will think, you know, that I'm not tracking you or whatever. Sometimes there will be these managers and you have to manage them or say, you're probably right. I should probably not send it, but I know you have like 965 things on your plate, Manoj. And this is something our whole team will get credit. It's important that we don't lose the golden moment. Okay. So again, you have said you are appreciating his overload and you're doing it so that the team gets a pat, but actually you are selling yourself. Okay. In that particular moment. Got it? So this is again, the becoming visible is a whole area you can work on. Like we can do a 2-hour workshop. I have just highlighted the 3 or 4 key things from there. Virtual world has become a big problem. It's a whole new way of working. How do you become visible when you're not talking as much, when you're not having the coffee with people, and everybody's already overloaded with too many Slack messages and emails and meetings and everything, right? And what do you do with one-on-one meetings? You're having it on the phone or on the video, or there is no human touch, and even appraisal meeting. So again, for this one, hopefully we are out of that zone now, at least at a reasonable level. But as a strategy, because I've worked with managers who were in Seattle and Bay Area, one of the strategies that works is that for one-on-ones, prepare short notes. If you do it once in 2 weeks, if you do it once in 3 weeks, share short notes about your key highlights, 1 or 2 key lowlights or crises that you're trying to resolve, 1 or 2 key points of feedback that the manager gave you, and put it in the mail after the meeting, or if the previous one you have, then before the meeting, share it and say, this is what we talked, Susan, last time. We will pick up from here. So it's 1, it creates a thread. 2, it ensures that any feedback that was given last time, if you want to counter it, or if you want to highlight that you're constantly working on it, you're able to bring it in the dialogue. Okay. And you're able to tie pending stuff with closure. It helps virtual meetings. Otherwise, our brains are multitasking too heavily. Okay. When explicitly ask feedback questions every second one-on-one. So if you do weekly one-on-one, then at least once in 2 to 3 weeks, explicitly ask, Manoj, you haven't shared any specific area where I should be giving more time. Don't use the word feedback. Don't use the word improvement. You haven't given me any area of improvement. Nana. If you call it area of improvement, they will definitely call it area of improvement. You haven't highlighted anything I should be focusing on more. You haven't pointed out any particular thing where I can give more attention. Do you want to discuss any area which might be a gap for my readiness for the next level? The language has to convey impact, not effort. And that has a significant way to pushing your manager. पता है वो फिर आपकी मीटिंग में आने के पहले सोचेगा कि मुझको उसको क्या बोलना है गैप के लिए. Otherwise, they are not thinking of you all the time. They don't have the bandwidth. You're pushing them to think about you and your growth, and start using the word readiness for the next level. Okay, my readiness for the next level. Especially appraisal, make it face to face. Just from the body language, you get a sense, was this rating thrust on my manager? Which means the manager really didn't want this rating, but the whole org, HR, higher leadership or is it genuinely his proposal? From the body language, you get a sense, is he on your side, or you're not one of the people right now he can care about. Okay. So that happens. So appraisal meetings, try to make them face to face. The challenge of managers, they don't give feedback. They are biased. They are humans. They are shadows. Shadows means, या तो micromanage करेंगे, ये किया कि नहीं किया, वो किया कि नहीं किया, या, they really won't be there for your growth. They really won't be there to drive anything. They are like one shadow at the background. But when it times to take credit, they are larger than life, just like our shadows. Okay, our shadows are larger than life, right? Although the shadow doesn't do the work. So they are shadows in both ways. Now, again, I don't want to make this stereotypical. I have been fortunate enough to work with very, very impressive, very progressive, very transparent managers who have really groomed me and grown me. So it's not all managers, but you need to get a sense, is this a shadow manager जो कि मेरा credit लेगा? Or is it a shadow or micromanaging manager जो कि मुझे they'll tell me क्या करो, but they won't tell me what to grow on. They won't tell me that somebody appreciated me. So you need to get a sense of your manager's profile. You need to do a pull on the feedback. I gave you examples. You need to document your mini successes either in a Slack message or in a document or an email. We will talk about the language a little later too. You need to share your small wins in an informal coffee setting, in your team meeting. When you are sitting in the aisle mein taali baja ke, guys, I just closed that bug. It was sitting on our head for 9.5 weeks. Do you know? And 3 clients are blocked because of that. Let's go and send a message to DevOps and grab a coffee. Okay, clap for yourself. Navigating biases. Understand that your manager will have biases. He's human, he or she. Some managers like people who work very late hours. They will notice that you're there late at night, whoever is there. You may not be that person. You may not have the mindset of working late night, but you're very efficient. I avoided working late night, but I was very efficient. Okay. When you have family, anyway, it becomes a challenge, right? Another kind of bias is some people are biased towards people who are talking a lot in meeting and giving a lot of ideas. They may do or not do, but they're giving a lot of ideas. Get a sense of what your manager gets biased by. Don't try to become that. Stay who you are, but you have to navigate that bias by a pull feedback, by a small win sharing, by highlighting. Let's say your manager is very biased by Praful. Okay, why? Because Praful to har samay gango rehta hai, raat mein 2-2 baje tak rehta hai, manager ke sath sutta bhi peeta hai. You know, he's really biased by Praful. Now, do not try to compete with Praful on these parameters because these are not your areas of strength. But you know you have to compete with Praful. Do it in a different way. Share a kind of success that you've had जिसमें Praful का ना कोई लेना था ना कोई देना था. Okay. Never use your colleague's name to project yourself that, oh, Praful to wo nahi kar paya tha. Never do that. Short term, you'll have a win. Long term, it is not a win. Okay. Because Praful will now wait to hit you back. Short term, it's a win. Okay. But there's another way to position it. And that is, you know what? These customers have been with us for 3 months. They've been bothered by these 16 issues with the DevOps capacity planning, right? I attacked it. I closed it. I know other team members have tried, but I just feel so good we were able to resolve it. Our team is going to get a good name. And I want to share my learnings back into the team so that now anybody in the team can do this. In a very sly way, you mentioned there were other team members who were not able to close it. Without taking names, you have to navigate and tell your stories without trying to become that other person because you don't have that personality. Sometimes we become nervous when we are with our managers. Okay, we have this image, and especially when we are junior, especially if the manager is very senior, or if the manager is a little toxic in the way they talk, right? What does this cartoon tell you? What does this cartoon tell you?
I'm lying about my readiness.
Who's the manager and who's the reportee?
The one who's hiding is the manager, and when the candidates saying I'm ready for my evaluation, he's sort of running away.
So the point is, you are nervous, but please don't assume that the manager is in the most upbeat and confident of state. He also knows that I have 17 people, out of which 9 have got average rating, only 3 have got excellent, and 4 have got exceeds expectation. But I have to keep the whole team. I cannot have attrition. So he is also nervous. She is also nervous in a very different way. Okay. I can lose 1 or 2, but I really can't lose people. Everything will go. They have. So do not assume only your stuff is at stake. Every performance dialogue, something is at stake for your manager also. They need to hold you. They need to be able to show you the value that you're giving to the organization, because most managers know that it's easy to get out. Most managers. I mean, unless it's a really low market, right? So go with that, a little bit of thinking. Yes, I'm nervous. Valid hai yaar, but दूसरा बंदा भी कोई पहाड़ खोद के थोड़ी ना आया है. Verbalize it. It gives you a different kind of confidence. It helps you manage your imposter syndrome. do a little bit of the Wonder Woman pose if any of you is aware of the imposter syndrome. You own your career. You have to highlight your value, your accomplishments. You have to ensure that you pull feedback. You have to ensure that even if it's a virtual world, you are doing some gesture understanding on whether this guy is with me, against me, neutral, will support me, will drive me. And you are responsible to navigate your manager. I know it, I'm almost making it sound the other person doesn't do anything. The other person is also doing everything. But the moment we start saying it's their responsibility, we neglect what we owe ourselves. Yes, Nisha, now I will listen to you. What did
hi,
you
Ruchi. No, it was more, it was just a question. So I wanted to know, how do you highlight the hurdles that you faced because of which you were not able to accomplish certain objectives? So just thinking about the language.
Okay, I will make a note of this. It is a topic of visibility. How to project obstacles. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Versus delay. I call it the obstacles versus delay, without sounding whiny, without sounding complaining. And I will give you a few lines. I've made a note. Okay. In case I miss it, pull me back. Okay, Nisha?
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
We are on to our second caselet. We are not doing a breakout for this one. We will be doing our breakout for the last one now. This is about understanding ratings. Read the story and enjoy the cartoon also. Over here, this is how many of us feel, at least in the first few years of our performance appraisal. That bas abhi hang hone wale hai hum log. Bas, that's the situation. So read the case study and let's try and discuss these questions as a whole group. Okay. What is the challenge here? What is Farida's challenge? Why is she not pushing back? Why is she not questioning? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know whether the expectation was very clear on her side as well, right? Like, she was under the assumption that she's doing well, but the manager has been giving her average ratings. So clearly there is some miscommunication, some data loss here, right? So that has to be cleared out.
Actually, no. Okay, I'll make a note initially. So there could be non-clarity of goals or non-clarity on expectation, right? And then she was not she was not questioning it. When you don't push back and when you don't question, people know you will not question. So those who take it, get it. Don't take it. Okay. Keep going. Give other perspectives. What else was happening?
Is the key phrase here meeting commitments? Because I mean, like you said, she was doing what was expected of her, but not exceeding it. Could that be one of the major reasons why she was?
Because nobody in the organization really explains to you, as somebody brought this up, right? Nobody explains to us what is performance, what is meets expectation, and what is exceeds. Only very large organizations which have a global HR force, which has a performance, understand your performance, will sit and give you examples. But many organizations just don't go through that. So you don't know. Yaar, aapne kaha tha ye kaam karna hai, main to bahut achhe se kar rahi hu. What more are you doing? Where is the plus? Without a plus, you're not exceeding. You're just doing what is expected of you. That's what the manager will say. What else? Like why do you think Farida doesn't question or push back?
Yeah, so the saying goes, right? I mean, that is, yeah, I think for that, so the answer would be something else. But then what comes to my mind is the crying baby is, feeded first. So she might not be asking for it. So means how will she receive it?
So this is a very common thing, right? Crying baby gets the milk, crying baby gets fed first, and organizations understand this. So a little is given. It's not always going to work out. You don't have to be a crying baby, but you definitely have to be an asking baby. Don't assume that my work speaks for itself, period. No. You have to talk about yourself. And there comes the comment somebody made, right? How do you talk about yourself impressively without being boastful? And I've been trying to give some examples of it, and I'll give more examples of it later on. But Farida as a person seems to be somebody who was happy with her comfort zone. She felt she was doing good in her comfort zone, but she was not questioning her zone. She was not questioning, am I expanding my zone? She was not questioning, why am I only getting average? Kaise hoga ki main next level pe jaun? You have to stand up and question, right? What could be the reasons the manager was continuously only giving her average ratings? What could be the possible reasons?
Because the manager knows that she would accept it and not question.
Either the fact was that she was just meeting commitments and there wasn't anything else that could be highlighted as exceeds, or so you remember, all organizations need stellar people, exceeds people, and all organizations need steady, stable, meets expectation people. Only then a team runs. All stellars also will kill it. Actually, over time, that also kills the culture of an organization, because every internal competition itself just kind of, and it's an internal entropy, and it just, so you need a mix of everybody. Farida may be getting an average rating because she was really just meeting expectations. She was in a comfort zone and she was not pulling out of that comfort zone. The manager was not even taking time to explain to her, because he was like, she's not going anywhere. Okay. There are people, by our body language, by the way we walk, by the way we talk, we come across as people, hum jahan hai wahan khush hai yaar, chalega. And then there are people who are like, oh, all hassled if they don't get what they want. So don't become hyper, but your body language has to convey, I'm here for business. I'm here for growth. I'm here so that you can deliver your business, but I'm also here so that you deliver on my business. Okay. Yes, Divya.
Yeah, hi Ruchi. I just wanted to add over here, it could also be like she has been in that comfort zone, and again we can come back to the point wherein she feels that she has worked really hard and it's an effort driven assessment, but she has like, we do not know how she has conveyed it to the manager, what impact she brought in. And also, like, when you settle in that comfort zone and it also becomes your mindset, so on the other side also it becomes a mindset that she will be meeting expectations. So in order to graduate from meeting to exceed, you really have to then shift that paradigm and show that you did the work.
You need to ask yourself, am I just meeting commitments, or am I exceeding something beyond what is expected of me? If not, you are stagnating. Am I just being consistent and hardworking and putting a lot of effort and burning the midnight oil, or am I pushing the envelope on either a skill or a project or a bug or a design, something which I was not familiar with, but now I am learning and now I'm showcasing. If you're not doing this, then making you an exceeds, the manager is not able to justify it to their leader. वो सारा काम कर रही है, so the manager can't justify. The manager should be able to showcase and say, Farida ne is saal, this design is cheez ka kiya, and we used to have such problems in version 2. In version 3, that module has become completely stable, and the credit of design completely goes to Farida. That the manager needs to be able to articulate it. And he will be able to articulate it if you have pushed the envelope and done something beyond the basic, consistent. Yes, Pallavi.
Do I have my hand up? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Okay. Yes, Anil.
Yes. So actually, what I feel in my team, that my manager keep telling me that you need to build a rapport with other team members, other architects, not only with our organization architect. You should be continuously keep getting POC work from the other architects whenever you have some free time. So you need to reach out to other architects and tell that you are interested in that area, and get some kind of proof of concept work, and try to build a rapport with other team outside my team. And then other people will give me good recommendation, and and then actually I can get the good ratings from my manager. So I think Farida also need to do the same here.
Very good point. So here you have a good manager. He's guiding you on how to push the envelope. One of the examples he's giving, this is the way for you to push the envelope. Some managers do it, some managers don't do it, but you have to find ways of pushing the envelope. There is one other reverse perspective of it. Average rating has a stigma. Like if you get an average rating, people think like, kya yaar, sara saal to kaam kya, or average rating mil gaya, type of thing, right? Guys, average means you did what was expected of you. It doesn't mean you are bad. It doesn't mean you're not worth keeping in the organization. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're incapable of that particular role. It doesn't mean that your company is trying to push you out. There is a stigma to average rating. Why am I highlighting this? All of us will have some years where we will want to excel. But if you try to excel every year, you might have a burnout if it's not natural to you. It's okay once in a while to have an average rating. And again, I say once in a while. I'm not saying you should live. If you live on your laurels of average rating all along, then you are in your comfort zone and you're okay with it. I used to have a colleague in my team, and when I was working in the US, she was an installer. Her work used to be to build the installation of anything that at that time, you know, you used to wrap it in a Windows installer. So she was an installer of the team. She had 23 years of experience and all of it was building installation. So I used to wonder uska performance review mein hota kya hoga. Okay, she was an installer last year, she was an installer 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and even now she's an installer. So once I was having coffee, lunch outing with her, and I asked her, I said, Irene, so you've been doing this, you know, you don't get bored, like you want to do something else. So she said, you know, the installer itself changes, the features change, the platforms change, the packaging changes. I like understanding all of that. I have been expanding my installation work to now include tech pubs of the installation, FAQ guides. So I'm improving my content writing skills. So I said, you know, you wouldn't like to do something more, you know, beyond what we. So she said, you know what the kind of commitment I have in my life, I'm happy. I'm happy being in my comfort zone, staying in the same company. I like the culture. I'm good. Now, see, she could be a Farida. And nobody should judge her. It's okay if that's what she wants to do. But if that's not what you want to do and you're still not pushing your envelope, then you are responsible. So one, don't attach stigma to average rating once in a 3-year cycle. If you have average, it just means, man, इस साल थोड़ा आराम करना था, सीधा सीधा चलना था, चल गए. A lot of times when you get a promotion in a year, let's say you get promoted this year, the chances are you will get an average rating. Because when you get a promotion, your organization expects that, you know, the euphoria of it, as well as growing on that level, because a lot of new skills will be there and a lot of new kind of work you'll have to manage. The growth path will be there. So in general, it's expected that you will be an average. Okay. There will still be a few people who will become stellar even in the first year of promotion, but that's not always the case. Many a times you will get, and it's okay because you have come to a new level. You're learning the ropes. You're trying to have impact at a different level. The second year of your cycle, again, you have to either be stellar or exceeds. Okay. So don't associate so much stigma with an average rating. Okay. And the second aspect I want to close over here is focus on delivery of your product, but again, verbalize your growth. Every few months, think, how have I grown? And if I haven't grown, how will I get promoted? And also work with your manager on realistic expectations and exceeds expectations. You needn't use the word exceeds, but in one-on-ones, you can ask, Manoj, I've been doing this for about 1.5 years now. I want to know, how can I do this differently? What else can I do? And how can I expand my scope? How can I expand my scope? How can I push the envelope? How can I try and have an impact on something beyond this piece? How can I, how can I learn something new which will make me more creative or give me an opportunity for creative juices? Push the ball in their court, so that the expectation itself starts to make you feel like I have to do beyond beyond meets expectation. I have to go to the exceeds. Here are some of the capture I may have already spoken. This is like a capture of the thoughts. Mindset, skills, if you are dealing with ratings, appraisal meeting, if the rating is not to your liking, and what is the organization thinking when they do all of these. There is this whole philosophical debate about you should not have ratings, you should not have bell curves. Just like we say in schools, you should not give grades, blah, blah, blah. It's all nice. I mean, you may want to project that there is no competition, but the fact is, when you have 43 people and you have to resize to 27, you need to know who are the 17 who can leave. When you become a manager, when you become a leader, you will also have to do this. So in which case, I need to know my stellar performers. I may not give you a rating. I mean, I may go with a performance appraisal in which there are no ratings. We just give feedback. We just write notes and give feedback. Sounds very flowery. The fact is, they still have their star raters list somewhere. They still have their did not meet expectations put on the PIP list somewhere. Because the fact is, that's how organization has to grow the people. This is not a let's all take it easy. It's a large swimming pool. We will all swim and there is enough all water for all of us. True. But bringing in efficiency, bringing in growth, bringing in productivity are always goals. One of the challenges of a rating dialogue and performance appraisal is that when you enter that room, most likely in most organizations, when that dialogue happens, the rating is already decided. The process has been done. It is being conveyed to you after it has been decided. It is not being conveyed to you so that usko अच्छा लगेगा तो हम ठीक रखेंगे, usko अच्छा नहीं लगेगा तो हम कुछ change कर देंगे. That's not how it is, right? So you can go inside the room with an anxious mindset or a happy mindset. It has been decided already, guys. Now, some of the people even wonder, you know, I was an exceeds, now I have become average. What does it mean? What does it mean? I was an average, I'm again an average. What does it mean? Or I was an average and I have become a needs improvement. Man, my life sucks. So needs improvement definitely is something which needs immediate attention because the organization is trying to figure out whether you are worth the investment or not. Okay. So you definitely need to buckle up. If you were an exceeds and you become an average, if you got promoted and you become an average, if you were excellent last year and you have become an average, it would be good for you to reflect. You should probably already know before entering the room if you are reflective, if you are observant, and if you have tracked yourself through the year. You will know this. And sometimes it's okay to be average. In a 5-year cycle, one average is not a problem. Give yourself that, yaar, thoda to relax bhi karu na. The year I got my daughter home, I didn't care about rating. The year my son was born, I didn't care about rating. I got a good rating that year also by chance, but I didn't care about rating. So my point is, you're juggling balls. In a particular year, decide which is the ball. This year, rating is not the ball I'm juggling against. My key goal is that I have to become a AWS architect, and doing that course and in parallel working on projects which are related to AWS. That's my charter. It's okay if I get average rating. Now, rating is tied to hike. So obviously, as humans, we will never be able to say that because average rating means minimal hike, right? It's very hard. But the fact is, you are juggling balls and you need to figure out once in a 3 to 4 year cycle, it's okay to have an average. But the rest of it, I will make sure I pull the feedback, I target certain goals, I figure out how I can be creative. Am I going beyond my comfort zone, out of my comfort zone? Am I really just meeting, or what is it that I'm doing that is exceeds the expectation? Not just doing my work. Because if I'm not just doing my work, then I meets expectation. Having clear dialogues on your goals and gaps. Not using the word gaps, using the word of where can I put a little more, where Can you give me some input on where more I can give more focus? Are there things that I can pick up? Are there things that I can hone better? If you use the word gap, if you use the word improve, that's what sticks in your manager's mind also. Use the growth positive language. Do you have a strategic impact thinking? Whenever you're doing anything, do you think of how many hours it will take, or do you think of what value the organization or the team will get? Start thinking of the value and impact. Don't think all the time of इसमें तो मैंने 12 घंटे लगाए थे. Your brain starts to value that more. Your mindset shifts from effort to impact. And as much as you may say, we will not give ratings, we will only give feedback, we will only have dial, the fact is it's a competition. है एक pyramid. सब लोग नहीं बन सकते top level leaders. हम तुम्हें कोई feedback rating नहीं देंगे, but only some people will rise the pyramid. Right? So it is get prepared for it. Don't treat it as this, you know what, my organization really doesn't have this system of ratings. BS. It's there somewhere in some flavor. Okay? Because eventually you need to know who are your critical resources, who are your most cherished and valued resources, who are the resources who are steady, stable, contributing, and who are the resources, if need be, you can let go. You will also have to think like this once you rise up the pyramid. In your appraisal meeting, especially when you doubt your rating, please understand what will be your manager's strategy. Will the manager make me talk about my accomplishments? Will my manager tell me my accomplishments and ask me to fill? Will my manager ask me to tell 3 highlights and 3 lowlights? Understand how your manager will navigate giving you not so good news. If you visualize it, if you think on it, if you reflect on it, your anxiety levels are less. Your readiness to be in that meeting is higher. Your emotional quotient is better managed. Your brain frontal cortex is thinking more logically. If you don't analyze or understand the strategy, mera manager musse kya, and suddenly the manager walks in and says, Shweta, now tell me, how was your year? What were 2-3 things you did great and 2-3 things you think you could have done better? Abhi wo Shweta wahan sunne gayi thi. Now she has been asked to talk. Okay, so try and understand what style your manager. Reflect, think of the possibilities. If you have an emotion, if your rating is not going to be as expected, should I project? Should I not project? Projecting and conveying that you're disappointed is fair. I am extremely disappointed that the serious effort and the high impact that I have had in releases 3.5 and 4.2, both in bug management as well as redesign of the scheduler, the rating does not justify, or the rating does not reflect. I'm extremely disappointed, but I am a team player and I will continue the dialogue. When you're going up the ladder, remember every performance appraisal, you have a chance to convey to your manager you are ready for the next level. You can handle the pressure. You can handle bad news. You know how to be a team player. You know how to not cry and sob and be whiny. Your image changes when you have that kind of dialogue. Have good questions to ask. If credit is given to somebody else, if a particular project in which you worked your butt off is being treated as Pratik's project, have good questions to ask. Prepare them. I've already talked about the poise, disagree, and revisit. Somebody says, oh, it's performance appraisal, there's never a time. Don't let them push that on you. If there is one bullet, and remember, don't do it for every bullet, then you are really pulling it too much. But if there is a serious disagreement, say that this particular topic I do want to discuss again. Summarize it in the mail after the meeting and say, I'm extremely disappointed that I'm not getting due credit on this effort in which I worked for 9 months. I want to ensure I have a separate dialogue on it and what are the implications on my rating for that. Short mail, 4-liner. Okay. When do you involve the HR? You involve the HR when you hit needs improvement. You involve the HR when you have a rating disagreement and you are completely sure that you should have got a higher rating. There's nothing wrong in involving HR. It's their job. Don't do it if you don't have the data. Don't do it if you have not tracked it. Don't do it if you're not able to articulate the impact. Don't do it just because an average makes you feel bad. It's okay. शायद किया ही वैसा था. इस साल ऐसा गया, next साल नहीं जाएगा. So have that data, that metrics, that thinking before you, but involve HR if there is a huge discrepancy. And if you sense bias or the reasoning, if your manager says, Divya, everything has gone really good this year and we have seen immense growth in how you're managing the code, how you're working in the team. You're almost emerging as somebody who can own a submodule. However, the quality of your code, the bug count coming out of it on a monthly basis is still a concern. Okay. And for sure in the last 6 months, that's not been a concern. Articulate it in that word. Manoj, for the last 6 months, I have had the lowest bug count and the fastest turnaround time in terms of fixing issues. I'd like you to share with me any particular episode on which you are basing this. Yes, 7 months ago it was the case, but once I got feedback, I've been. So articulate without disgruntlement, but be very clear. Don't go beating about the bush. From an organization perspective, they make rating decisions, or how do you think they make? How do you think organizations make rating decisions? They want to keep the most valued. It is not only about what you delivered, it is about the potential. तुमने बहुत deliver किया है इस साल, but if they don't see the potential in you for the next year, they might still say, yes, the year was good run for her. Yeah, we can give her an exceeds because really it is a good run for her, but don't give her excellent because I don't see the potential for next year. And I know it may sound unfair, but the company's need is to keep critical resources, high potential resources, people who are going to grow, people who are going to stay with the company. That's the company's objective. Right? And can performance ratings be changed? Yes, if you contest it in a proper way. It's a longer process than you would want. It takes time. A bunch of reviews are there. A bunch of he said, she said is there. Some organizations are not even open to that kind of dialogue, but in some organizations, it can be changed. But in the next slide, I'll talk about how you prioritize long-term thinking versus this particular value. I will talk about that. One of the important things from an organization's perspective is that Ruchi got a meets expectation. She was expecting and exceeds expectation. When she comes back on Monday, she should not be sitting at the coffee table and bitching about her manager and her manager's manager and complaining that Pratik has done less than her and has still got another rating, and keep complaining that Archana to aati bhi nahi hai par usko bhi mere hi jaisi rating mili hui hai. Because organizations want resilience. If you really have issues, make it a formal HR process. Do not become the the pond fish. Please do not become the pond fish. Have the guts to debate it, discuss it, but resiliently move on also. And also understand what's on the table. If I project that, I'm done. If I'm not getting this rating, I'll be looking out. Have a realistic understanding of will your organization give you a counter offer or not. Don't over project yourself. Okay. Change is possible if you have documented proof. Okay. If you are able to clearly show that, the rating was only this much, but the raise should have been this much. Again, very metrics data driven. If change is possible, there are people in organizations where change happens because they see somebody leaving and they can't afford to let them go. Okay. If the impact is huge on a surface area of a team, change of rating is possible, but change of rating is not straightforward. Change of rating is not straightforward. So fight that battle if you're really convinced. But also remember, 6th grade में आप geography में fail हुए थे. Okay? पर चलती गई life. आज किसी को मालूम है? 3rd year of your career, you got an average rating. 5 years from now, nobody will care and nobody will know. Do not let 1 year's rating define your career curve. Think long term. Think, where do you really want to go? If there are biases, if the manager is bad, if there are clear reasons, if you think the organization is not able to motivate you to get out of your comfort zone, sure, get out, move on. Don't, you can complain about it. But if not, then think long term and treat this as ye 6th grade tha, isme geography kharab ho gayi, next saal it won't make a difference. It depends on how much short term and how much long term thinking you want to have. A lot of people these days have very short term thinking. I got only 11% raise. That person got 13% raise. Okay. And then I will be in a sucky mode for the next 10 days. Be in a sucky mode for 2 days. Either fight or flight. Don't whine and keep staying there. Ya to fight karo, ya bhago wahan se. या resilient होके आगे बढ़ो. Don't be in a whining mode, because the image that you project does not count towards leadership points at all. So if you are looking to grow in a pyramid and you come across as somebody who complains, somebody who's non-resilient, somebody who takes small stories and makes them big, you may have all the functional skills to rise up the ladder. They will not see leadership skills in you. Another cartoon and another story. This is the last story. I'm just checking time. We are done with our time, which is 5:45. So I'm not in a position to go for a breakout room right now. We will try and capture the points here itself so that I'm able to finish the remaining 3 slides before 6 o'clock or around 6 o'clock. Is that okay, Shweta and Mansi?
I think that's okay with us. Some of our participants may have
other commitments.
I think that's the only thing.
So I would just like to read this, guys, because this is about promotion. Let's capture some of the key thoughts about the promotion in the next slide and then wrap up. What is the challenge here? What can Harini do differently?
Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, thanks. So I think the challenge here is, even though she knows that she's done well and she expects that, okay, she has gotten a exceed performance kind of rating, but what she got as a reward was very underwhelming, which she did not expect. So that's, so I think again, it's a mismatch of the mapping of when you have a certain exceeded expectation, what are the rewards that you kind of expect?
It's important to understand that rating is about performance and potential, but more performance. Promotion is about potential. Promotion is about, do you have the capability to perform at the next level? Are you already showing readiness that, you're already doing work with which she's a senior architect, then a principal architect does. She's already showing that she can do the work which a principal architect. It isn't about delivery. Promotion is not about delivery. You can do very good delivery, but you are only a senior architect. I cannot make you a principal architect because you are not able to design large scale, geographically deployed systems. You're only able to do design of smaller systems. So a lot of times people think promotion is like a lollipop for the work that I have done. It is not. It might be in some organizations, but in general, performance rating is about the work you did. Promotion is about how the organization sees you being ready for the next level. And if they don't see you ready for the next level, you can perform however much you want. They may not promote you. Okay. What can Harini do differently? Anyone with any best practices? Anyone with other common challenges of promotion dialogues or promotion scenarios?
She could put in more efforts to showcase that, since she has got the feedback that she needs to develop people skills, so she can put in more effort to showcase that she has developed people skills over the next 6 months or 1 year, or some sort of an initiative related to that.
So if she has got feedback and if she gets it in her performance review, it's unfair of the manager. Generally, feedbacks should have been flowing in check-ins also. It's not like this is the first time the manager got to know, right, that she has people skills. People skills challenges, they should have come in earlier dialogues also, and you can confront your manager. Thank you for your feedback. I will work on it. But I have a question for you. When have you first noticed this? And if it has been something on your mind, why have you not shared this with me? Put them on a spot without being niggly, without being grumpy, without being disgruntled. Because it's your career. Nobody really told you that, people skills was going to be an important part of your job function when you go to the next level. You didn't think it was. And now they are saying it is. So that is the promotion story. And then there is a third flavor. When you get a certain rating, you get a certain hike. Generally, organizations tie ratings to hike. If you get exceeds, you'll get an 11%. If you get meets, you'll get a 7%. I mean, different companies have different. And if you are going beyond the band and are not getting promoted, so obviously they have to cap you to the band. They can't give you more than, the maximum band that is there for your salary. So you have to also understand that promotion may not always mean a hike. You may be at the top of the band, you get promoted. So now you are at the beginning of the next band. You might get a very small hike. And it's not like they're trying to shortchange you. It's just that you have been in the organization. You have been, because of your exceeds and excellent rating in the last 3 years, you have been getting 11% growth or 12% growth, and you are at the top of the band of senior architect as far as pay is concerned, right? And that same number or a little below that is the starting salary of a principal architect. When they promote you, they'll give you a small rise. Otherwise, other principal architects who are already performing in that role will get less than you. It becomes an org issue. So again, I'm not justifying, but I'm saying try and understand the rationale. Question it. Talk to your HR, understand the rationale. And if it still feels unjustified to you, formally say that, I think I'm worth more. I have explored. I have 2 more offers. It's not the first step you'd want to take. Hostility doesn't build long-term careers, basically. But eventually you might have to do that too. This was to capture the feedback, but we are not doing that. You may enjoy the cartoon here. This happens when you have 21 people and you have to figure out how to make some people average, some people exceeds, some people stellar, some people needs improvement. There will be 1 or 2 in whom you were just not able to find anything exceptional, so you put them in average. You don't have a very clear reason, but you don't have a very clear reason to put them in the next category also. That's why it's important for you to highlight how you moved the needle, so that they don't have to look for a reason to deny it. They will have a reason to consider it. Here is a summary for promotion hike kind of discussions. And growing, are you growing at your level? You are a senior architect. Are you building new functional leadership skills so that slowly you start to show skills of the next level? As you rise up, people skills are very important. You can be very good technically and functionally, but if you don't have interpersonal skills, if you don't have negotiation skills, if you don't have meeting management skills, if you don't have email writing skill, document writing skill, communication skills, your growth to the next level might get studied. Okay. It's not personal. It is a competition. There are 5 people being considered for promotion. Only 2 can get promoted, and pros and cons analysis is done. It's a SWOT. It's not about anybody doesn't like you. It is a SWOT. Okay. Have you started showing business thinking? A lot of women, when we work on our work, we work on our work. We see like this. We don't see like this because we think being seeped in our work, we will do very deep perfectionist work. Perfectionist work kills you. Do you understand the business implication of it? Do you understand what ROI is coming on it? Are you able to see why this feature is very important for this sprint? Not from a technical perspective, but from a business and customer perspective. That shows that you are growing to the next level. You're thinking business. You're thinking strategic. Do you have an extensive network within the organization? Do people champion you? Do people call you for a brown bag? Do people approach you because when they have a tough problem in the NoSQL database, they know they have to go to Mansi? Do you have a brand image for something? Whenever they have to draft a communique which has to go as a press release, they will go to Shweta because they know she will be able to proofread and do bang on it. Brand image yourself for something. Are you out of your comfort zone? Are you doing something creative? Pick 2 or 3 of this. You have to plan your promotion. Your manager doesn't have to. You figure out, I'm a senior architect. I have to start thinking strategically. I have to do something creative. I have to build my brand image as the go-to person for DevOps. You are planning for your promotion. And then you do execution of your promotion. Know your growth areas, execute on it, clearly discuss it with your manager. When you take an action or a task which shows that you have grown in that area, document it. Work throughout the year on that. Do not think about it 3 months before the appraisal. Does your work get visibility beyond your team at least once in 6 months? Keep your emotions out. In a corporate world, because it used to be a male bastion, it's kind of a masculine flavored organization. People want solutions. People want movement. They don't have time for emotions. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's fair or unfair. I'm just saying that's how many organizations are. They have a very masculine image about it. You know, if I'm feeling bad about something, I don't sit and sop over there. Resilience is valued. Okay. Some of us may want to crib. Some of us may want to complain because that helps us manage our anxiety. Do it with 1 or 2 person whom you know in true faith is not going to make this a hallway conversation and make you look like somebody who's an emotional bomb. Because again, when promotions are considered, when leadership is considered, you want somebody who's resilient. You want somebody who can handle bad news without becoming emotional. Self-nominate yourself for new things, for a new project, for a new work. Self-nominate. And then justify growth with a track record. You gave me feedback to improve on this. This is the work I have done. This is the metrics. Promotion is not only a manager's decision. It's a whole, leadership decision. So don't always look for a reason why your manager did not promote you. The likelihood is he didn't even have a direct say in it. He had to give examples. He had to promote your cause, but he is not the only one making the decision. Okay. You have to project readiness for the next level. And if you are going up to a principal level or a tech lead level, then the organizations want you to, in your gesture, in your language, in your style, do you convey the brand image? When somebody looks at you, do they feel like this person is from a brand company? Or do you have a tendency to complain? Do you have a tendency to crib? Do you have a tendency to badmouth customers? In which case, you do not convey the leadership skills they are looking for as brand ambassador of their company. There is less room on the top. It's a pyramid. Not everybody will go up. It is a competition. Play with it that way. Just because you have been in a role for 3 years doesn't mean you'll go to the next level. I'm going to skip this slide in the interest of the last slide. Okay. This slide was a little bit about emotions, because women, we tend to be emotional, especially in, you know, performance, appraisals and things like that. Just give me a minute. I will need to take this call. Give me a minute.
As Ruchi finishes her call, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to all of you who are staying back over time for the rest of the session. Do stay on till the end, because we have a special surprise program for you that we want to share, which will help you through a lot more of these conversations. So stay tuned for that announcement.
Hello, folks. I have a call which I will need to take because this has overrun. As I said, I will go to the last slide. And these are women-centric points, our mindsets. And one of them is, if we ask for something, we will be perceived greedy. No, please. Okay? What will others think if I promote myself? Forget what others think, yaar. Learn to promote yourself. They may not like me. Doesn't matter. You're not there to be liked. You're there to be respected. You're there to be promoted. You're there to make impact. So these two slides are about biases that women have about themselves. Okay. We hesitate to question if we get a rating or anything else. We are kind of verbose and descriptive. Can you become crisp? Can you speak in small sentences? We are very detailed oriented. Try to get the big picture. Try to get the business picture. And many of these actually pull us back. Okay? We get emotional. We take it personally. It's not personal. There were 7 people for promotion. We could only do it for 2. We took the top 2. You are really good, but we couldn't make you in this cycle. It's not personal. Ask explicitly. Tools, resources, workshops, feedback. Do not use the word I supported. You owned it, you drove it, you contributed is okay. Don't use words like support and help. They are weak words to project yourself. I know I'm kind of rushing it in the end, but I have a back-to-back meeting. I thought it was at 6:30, but I got a call and I will need to take that call. I had a good time. I am a transformation and change coach. I do trainings. I do coaching on many areas of leadership, job change, growth, personal development, promotion. How do I grow myself for the next level? All of that. If any of you is interested, please approach me on LinkedIn. If any of your corporates need any such similar trainings, I do corporate trainings too. So thank you, Leenan, for this opportunity. And I hope all of you have got some value out of this session. I will need to take off.
Yeah, I was a minute before Ruchi leaves. So yeah, thank you so much, Ruchi. It was indeed a great session. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So the more I say, and I guess so, the less it is. So thank you so much, and then thank you, Leenan, for bringing it up to us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. I look forward to doing more sessions with Leenan. I try to do 1 a quarter. So I look forward.
Ruchi. You're also our favorite coach and typically our go-to coach when we need a lot of these conversations. So thank you so much for your time. And I think very direct, honest feedback on what we do and what we could do better. Thank you so much for that.
All right. I will now take leave and I wish everyone over here the best.
Thank you, Ruchi.
All right.
Thank you.
Right. I hope somebody has taken a screenshot or something.
We have a recording, so we'll be able.
Okay, cool. You'll be able to take it.
Do you want me to take a picture? If everyone can turn on their videos real quick.
Can we have some of you on the screen? It would be great to take a picture.
Okay, guys, I really need to leave.
Mansi, you'll have to hustle.
I'm sorry to do this, but yeah, my tracking, I thought it was 6:30 and it's an important call.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. could I ask the ladies to stay on for maybe 2 more minutes? So we wanted to talk to you about an initiative that we are running at Lean in Bangalore. It's called the Sprint. What it basically is pro bono coaching program, which means we are offering career coaching to all our community members for free. It is one-on-one coaching program that you sort of can take benefit from. We basically have like a group of coaches who are giving their time to help coach more women, to see more of them in leadership positions. So that's what this program is. We have run the first cohort of this program from January to March of this year. We had about 50 women who participated in it. And we are opening up our wait list for the next group. So basically the way this program runs is you sign up for it, you are assigned a coach who will work one-on-one with you on a career goal of yours. And there are no payments. The only thing we ask of you is commitment to a goal in your own career, and make that time to have those conversations and take action. That's all we ask of you. So and these coaches that we have are all certified coaches. They're all people who have done well in their careers and now want to give back to seeing more women in the workforce. That's what they do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link in the chat, which is a link to the registration form for the sprint. It has questions which ask you things like, what are your career goals that you want to focus on? And then you can structure your conversations with the coach around those things. You can also bring in maybe some of personal issues or challenges that you may be having, which could be acting as impediments to your career growth. Anything that is stopping you from being your best at work, you can bring it up in these coachings. All of that stays confidential. None of it is shared even with us. So what we are offering is pro bono time from certified coaches to help you in your career. If you would like to benefit from this program, you can fill up the link and we'll reach out to you and assign the coaches. The next coaching cohort starts from April of this year. It goes on for 3 months. So over April, May, and June, you will have 4 to 5 coaching sessions, all free, all aimed at making sure you become better at what you do. So if you have any questions around the sprint, you can reach out to me or Mansi, who's there here. We also have our email addresses and even WhatsApp numbers for that matter. So you can reach out to us and we'll support you in any way you can. We had, as I mentioned, about 50 women who participated in the first group. And I think almost every single one of them has come back and said, can I refer a friend? So for this program. Then I think that's a lovely recommendation of the quality of coaches we have here. So honestly, if you haven't tried coaching, this is probably a great way without investment of benefiting from it.
Thank you for this. I see this is a wonderful opportunity for many of women leaders to undergo coaching under wonderful coaches. So I think this is a good opportunity. Thank you for organizing this.
You're welcome. Divya, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like, I was part of this cohort, like the sprint cohort, the January to March, and I've had 2 sessions with the coach, and I'd just like to add, like, they were really helpful, and it did also help me be more self-reflective. So it is going to be a wonderful opportunity, whoever like wishes to do this. Yeah.
Thank you, Divya. I think that really helps. And if you have friends who you think that could benefit from coaching, do recommend them to try it out. I think it's a great way of making sure there are more women leaders around us. So that's something. Yes, Pallavi.
Just a quick question. Are these coaches basically for roles in technology organizations, or can we go beyond that domain too?
So basically, they are not technical coaches. They are career coaches for you. Okay.
Like the careers in technology, or could it also be in other domains?
So when you become a coach, you're not domain specific or technology specific. So for example, if you wanted a coach who will tell you what technology to find out, that's probably not the place. But if you wanted to know what behaviors, what things you could change to get to the next level, the coaches can help you that. So they're more general in that sense and not necessarily tech related.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Just for reference, the first cohort had people from 5 different industries and 10 different domains. who were part of the group, and you will probably get matched to a coach who does not belong to the same background as you. So, but they will be able to add a lot of value by asking you questions that will make you reflect, as Divya said. And when you reflect yourself, you'll figure out the right path for yourself also. So that's the part they bring in.
So it means, Shweta, that we have to be like really receptive while filling up the forms, right? So that the like right mentors are like assigned to us depending upon what exactly we are looking for.
Yes. So do specify what is it that you're looking to sort of get out of the coaching program. If you are clear, your coaching also becomes more impactful, I would say. But if you are like in a comfort zone, you're trying to figure out how to move to the next level, or you don't really have a pressing career problem right now, it may still be worthwhile to think about what is it that you could do better. So even if you have a very generic goal, like I want to become better at what I do, that could also be a coaching goal that you could work with. That's what the coaches also told us.
Also, yeah, that's a like wonderful initiative. So yeah, thanks a lot. So I think I'll be like registered for that. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Feel free to spread the word about it as well. And thank you so much for being here. We are closing the recording, and we'll make sure that it is available for you if you want to go back to it and check through, read through, or listen to some of the stuff that Sruchi mentioned as well.
Yeah, so I was just asking to like, sorry for, sorry again. So I was just trying to understand if we can get the deck. So I understand that the like recording will be available. If we can at least get the deck handy, I guess that would also be helpful. Is that possible?
In the past, Ruchi has not typically shared her decks because she also does these training sessions for corporates. So, which is why she doesn't share them. But because you'll have the recording, you can still sort of get screenshots if you need to. And
right. Okay. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Atal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
All bye.
Thank you.